Good morning, Soft Power Universe. It is Monday, March 17th. We are the Soft Power team here today, and this is Moonday Grounding. I am filling in today for Dr. Kiki as the Sound Alchemist and inviting y'all to ground with us for a few breaths as we kick off this weekly stream, sharing about our behind the scenes and daily life, building our church for creativity. Inviting you to take 3 breaths with me today. I'm feeling the syllable of ah for the heart. And we're going to take 3 breaths in. I'm going to sing a note and inviting you, wherever you're watching, to sing in unison. On the second note and the third note, harmonize, whatever that means for you. Inviting you to stay connected to your body this whole stream. Stay connected with your breath. And together, let's take our first breath. Let it go all the way, get a little uncomfortable to get all that air from the bottom. Second breath together. Letting that jaw drop a little more in there. You can give a little massage to your jaw. And third breath together, taking a big inhale. And we are now tapped into the soft power frequency.
Thank you, Siobhan. Hi, everybody. My name is Midori. I'm a founding mother here at the Church of Soft Power, and today we're doing a little reading from the Energy Archaeology deck by Ashley Simpson that we've been reading from. So let's see what card comes to us for the week. Ooh, it's the word we love here, sovereignty. And the bone associated is coccyx. So we're going to see what the book has to say. It says, sovereignty knows that self, not selfishness, is its set point. It looks inward for alignment and then outward for how to move in relationship. The coccyx is the tailbone, which is the terminal part of the spinal column. At birth, the 4 tiny vertebrae are separate, but throughout life they fuse to form a triangular shape. It says, let's see. So the wisdom of this card is sovereignty knows that self, not selfishness, is its set point. The sovereign self is not individual or self-serving. It does not navel gaze. It looks inward for alignment first, and then looks outward for how to support, receive, and give, and move in relationship with that alignment. Deconditioning and integrating the truth of who you are is foundational. The more your alignment shifts toward your purpose for being on this planet in this incarnation, the more sovereign you become. The deeper you trust your sovereign energy and alignment, the more you understand your responsibility to others and shift grids, heal timelines, and create immeasurable change in this world. Beholden to your alignment and its transmission into the world, you become one unto yourself. Responsible for transmitting and nurturing this essence, you come into community. Some of the questions are, what does it feel like to make a decision from the energy of my sovereignty? How is sovereignty treated like social currency? Where do I give it away, and where do I ask others to diminish theirs? Hot. Hot, 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 hot. And that is the reading of the week.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Midori. Sovereignty. Okay, What's up, y'all? My name is Flo. I'm going to lead us through a movement practice to wake up our bodies, to clear some energy, wake up some blood and oxygen flowing in our bodies, and feel more centered with ourselves and our sovereignty. So, we're going to start with 3 clearing audible breaths. So, wherever you are, exhale out. I'm going to inhale in, breathe in, invite in your intentions. Could we meet? And then exhale out, releasing any sound that your body wants to release and express. Sending that breath all the way down through your body. Let the sound of your breath vibrate throughout your body down to your feet. Second breath, inhale in. Fill your body up with this breath of life. Exhale out. Last collective breath together. Inhale in, breathing in, filling up your body with your intentions for the day. Exhale out. And feel free to continue your clearing breath, making audible sounds with your breath throughout the movement practice. For the first movement exercise, we're going to do it seated. We can grab your shoulders with your hands, and we're just going to open up the shoulders. So this is a variation of shoulder rotations. You can alternate your shoulders. Imagine like you're like a chicken. You're like a rooster opening up its wings. If this isn't accessible to you, you can just do some shoulder rolls, shoulder circles. Inhaling in through your nose, exhaling out the mouth to clear, to cleanse, removing energy, releasing any stiffness, any tension, breathing into your shoulders. This is for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you can release. Actually, let's put the hands back on the shoulders. We're gonna do a spinal twist. So we're just gonna twist our torsos, our upper half of the body from left to right, waking up the spine, getting that spinal fluid going in motion, moving blood, oxygen, energy flow up and down the spine for 5, 4, exhale, 3, 2, and 1. And while you're seated, let's do a few rounds of cat-cows here. So you can place your hands on your knees. We're going to inhale to look up towards the sky, arch your spine, open up the chest and the shoulders and throat. And then exhale to round your spine, looking down towards the ground, breathing into the back of your spine and your chest. A few rounds on your own. Inhale to look up towards the sky, breathing in your intentions, breathing in your sovereignty. Exhale, release. Releasing any sounds, rounding your spine. Moving at your own pace, syncing breath to movement. You can move as slow as you want, as fast as you want. Connecting to your body, connecting to your pace and your rhythm. Let's do one more round on our own. Inhale to look up, and then exhale to look down and round the spine. And Let's do one last movement, and I'm going to invite us to stand. We're just going to do some qigong tapping to wake up our bodies. We're going to bring our hands. Let's start with a self massage on the upper half of the body first. So let's massage the side of our necks, the back of our necks, connecting with self touch. Easing our bodies. Let's move the massage down to the chest and the clavicles. This is also a little lymphatic self-massage, lymphatic drainage massage, moving to both sides of the clavicles and shoulders. And the lymphatic system is responsible for moving down to the armpits. It is our internal sewage system, so we're just supporting our bodies to help facilitate the movement of any excess fluids, toxins, and waste that's being stored in the lymph nodes and pockets of their armpit. And then let's swipe down the side bodies, down the chest, the belly. And if you're standing, we're going to do some tapping at the hips. We can also try to do a seated, just tapping, knocking life into our hips, into our pelvic region. It's just where our life force sits, our vitality, tapping in with our potential. Let's knock on the sacrum, lower back, moving down the legs, down to the feet. And slowly release. I'm just gonna swipe, 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 swipe. Anything that you don't need, that isn't supporting you. And then we're gonna end our practice with a big self-hug. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Flo, Amidori, and Siobhan for all of the medicine to start our days. My name is Nathaniel. I am the creative producer here at the Soft Power universe, and I usually lead our little philosophical discussion on Mondays. And I usually start with a big download I'm having, which is just not present right now. I think some things I'm really been sitting with this week is there's just a lot around releasing perfectionism and the ways that shows up in me. And I've found a lot of small ways this week to just lean into imperfection, especially as I've been creating with getting ready for church kid dropouts in a couple weeks. And just, dropping into creativity for the sake of it. And I can feel the reps I've been putting in, because it's just really easy for me to just go with the flow creatively right now. And then at the same time, I still feel a lot of tension in my creative process. So I'm in this really interesting space of I'm very open to creating however creativity flows. And at the same time, I've been hitting a lot of roadblocks in my creativity. And just, it's so interesting because my conversation with the theme of this show is very deep and is such an integral story to my story, to look at the ways that weight evangelical Christianity impacted me and like informed my roots, honestly, like from roots up, like it's all in there. And so, and on the one hand, I have to say and to offer when it comes to this story, and on the other hand, I don't know if I've ever felt this stuck doing like preparation for a drag performance. When it comes to the actual thing, it's like my costume has been fun. I finished making this mask that I've been working on yesterday, and it looks awesome. Um, but the actual like music and like figuring out how I'm going to tell the story, I've never felt this kind of block. And tapping into, I had a moment like in my bath. It was like right after we launched the casting, I think, like once we secured casting, right after that, I was in my bath and some of my like evil ancestors came through, and they were like really trying to. The bath is often where my people meet me. That's like a very sacred spiritual place for me, so that's not uncommon. But it was the like intensity that I felt them, and I could literally feel them like standing on my neck, and I I like it was really intense, and I like stood up. I like not stood up, but like I like sat up in the bath like real strong like when I felt them, and I was like, get off my neck. Like we were like kind of going at it, and I was like, you can't have me, and you can't have my voice, and I'm doing this shit. So I feel this like real intensity around like they are very not happy with this work, which makes me feel great. I'm like, awesome, we are going in the right direction. And also, I'm thinking about like the astrology of today. Yesterday is very like there's like the North Node, Sun, and almost Neptune soon. And then I like at some point today are conjunct. And it's just kind of giving this sort of like permeability to the other realms, and that can be great. It can also mean like boundaries are super needed, and what do we let through, and what are we allowing to our psyche and our subconscious and our physical body to like tap into, and where's discernment inside of that. And so anyway, I'm just feeling very like part of me is like I feel like part of this is the blocking isn't actually coming from me, because this story to tell is like so powerful. And we're doing this show on a solar eclipse, and that's on purpose. When we look at this is something I've been sharing with the cast and our creative containers we've been hosting, but like part of the reason that I wanted the show to be on the solar eclipse is because we are entering into a period of like literal warfare. And I believe very strongly that one of the strongest weapons of that warfare from the state is through the religious institution of Christianity specifically. And I do believe that that is the most effective tool that they are using to usher in fascism and get the everyday human on board with fascism, is very much through this like lens of Christianity. And I see it through my own family who I'm not in contact with, and the ways that like spawned them in a direction of like, y'all got scared real quick. And I think that this opportunity on this solar eclipse is an opportunity to really like strike our own attack, and really set the tone for like what do counterattacks look like. I think a lot of this work is spiritual warfare, and that's what I see the show to be is combat. And we get to do it creatively. Like that's what we believe in here, is that our combat is creativity, and creative expression. And so it feels like 100% the assignment to be doing this work on this day. And I'm noticing my experience inside of that and what I'm encountering. And also knowing that like this weekend, there's some really great astrology stuff for getting creative. So I'm sort of like doing what I can and trying to tap in, and then also try not to be too hard on myself about not having it all figured out yet. And just kind of trusting myself that I've always pulled something together, and I will. So yeah, just very much feeling that. And the question that I kind of wanted to bring up today was sort of like, where is inspiration coming from, or like, what are you inspired by, or like, where are you hoping to be inspired? So that's kind of where I am in all of that, is like, I'm really inspired by this work that we are doing is keeping me going right now. And hearing the ways that our cast members are approaching this story is really exciting. And I feel really inspired by what they're going to create. And I think that I'm seeking inspiration for myself. Like, I have a lot of stuff, but it's just, yeah, it's really weird. Like, I listen to Christian music all weekend, which like but I was trying to tap into, okay, what's the music, and just not it's just an interesting, like, nothing is really coming through as inspiring. And that's not like me. I really, in my drag practice, I really connect with something quick, and I put it together and I get to moving, and that's just not what's happening right now. So it's kind of where I am, and what I'm feeling, where I am inside of all of this. And I think just Siobhan is gonna chat today, so it might be more of a like conversation between me and Siobhan. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you about how this is, maybe about this specifically. I know you're doing your debut, so I'd love to hear about that, or just in general, how this question might be showing up for you.
Thank you. Yeah, first of all, I'm inspired by you. For real. I'm inspired by everything that you've shared so far. For those that don't know, I was invited to co-host this next drag show. And just like the support and the reflection that you've given me to just like say yes. Um, and even your just like planning and Capricornness, I am normally where you are at. So maybe it's a little, you did call in Jupiter. And so maybe that is what's coming up for you is some of my Sag rising rubbing off a little bit. Because my inspiration has taken the opposite effect, where that I've actually been preparing, been planning, which is not something that I do. It's something that I've told the team. Um, I said this with surrender too. Like, my spirits keep telling me, now, Siobhan, what does it look like when you prepare, when you refine, when you give yourself that time? Like, I've already shown myself that I know how to just like show up and channel. And so to put together a piece of art and in this offering um, is something I'm loving hearing you share, that like you're seeing this as like a fight back on this battle and warfare, because that is where I've been sitting with I'm at that stage of my performance where I kind of like got this little download of the first round of sounds and songs, and then I was refining it. And really what my refinement has been rooted in this question of like, what spell am I casting here? Like, this is my debut. Like you said, it's on an eclipse. And so that's a good inspiration to go look more into the astrology of that day and being really mindful of that. And so like the songs that I chose mean so much to me in the energy of them. And I know that I'm like also in this stage, like my relationship with the theme of church kid dropouts um, is around the patriarchy in terms of how it's impacted me relationally, and especially in choosing to be married at a young age. And I'm still navigating that. I'm still untangling some of those binds that marriage and, yeah, just that whole situation left on me, and unpacking and unraveling like all the way back to where these ideas formed. So it's been this really emotional process this weekend, and I kind of unplugged as much as I could over the weekend because um, I have the home to myself. My son's away for a week, which is like any other time we've been apart that long, it's usually me off traveling somewhere. So it's actually really nice to just like be in the home, be in the silence, to have this space for myself. And I'm getting inspired by my own story. I'm like waking up to facets of my own story and parts of myself that I've just forgotten about. Like I just, have been through kind of a lot of lifetimes in this one body. So remembering these things and places and relationships that I've had um, has been inspiring me to create and write and kind of like look back on my life. It's like, oh, like this is like there's a full story happening there. And now there's art I could create from there that I couldn't necessarily create while navigating that journey. And so the book is sitting right here. This is another big piece of inspiration and motivation and affirmation for me right now is this book called Sex Workers, Psychics, and Numbers Runners, Black Women in New York City's Underground Economy. And this is by LaShawn Harris. Um, this book has just also been really affirming. And I want to echo things that you said, Nathaniel, in the last few streams when I think I wasn't here, but you've been really speaking to Black, queer, and trans folks and the leadership. And for me, for a long time, and understanding my own personal relationship to sex work ancestrally. I don't share too much about that, but that is my like family. I'm the product of that um, from my grandmother, and well, what you've been, yeah, just this echoing of like, there's so much to learn from already. There's so much available to us to look to for um, yeah, just like how things have moved in times that have felt um, that have echoed some of these same themes of oppression and all the things. So this book's really interesting. It's just really talking about underground economies and the reasoning for it, and how some of it's survival, some of it is people who just reject gender roles, some of it is based on what the economy allowed at the time when certain people couldn't have bank accounts, or just the safety of these things. And so this is really an important book to me to read. I actually bought it a while back, and I just like the moment to read it came in the last month. And I'm seeing exactly why, because yeah, this is just all intersecting. It's intersected and impacted my life. Um, and yeah, Black women have always been who I learned from. Black women were my first teachers, my first friends, and um, just who I was raised by intellectually. So this is my inspo for anybody who resonates with that theme. Definitely recommend this book.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Siobhan. I love that. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I love to hear. I do think it's funny that we're having a role reversal moment. And it does make sense. I am calling on Jupiter. I'm having a Jupiter return year. And so that is one of the planets of my focus this year, along with Venus. So I've been asking both of those planets for lessons, and they're arriving. So I love to hear how you are inside of your process, and also the ways that you're finding inspiration in how we build, how we stay fortified inside of increasing oppression. Like one thing I've been writing about lately is just the way that like fascism's effectiveness is the ways that it, and we're really seeing it right now in real time, but just like the expansive ways that it like creates more and more marginalization, so that more people start to panic and like be like, oh, okay, yeah, I gotta really like get secure, right? It's like always trying to threaten our material security. That's literally what capitalism, how it keeps its control and like its hooks in us, is it's like, but you need money to survive, right? And so when we have the opportunity to flip that on its head and say, but I think I can do it different, that is extremely threatening to the system. And to know that there are so many others that have done this, have been doing this. And I think that's something that like I always stay grounded inside of, is like the shit is not new, and I'm not about to panic about it or Like I can have healthy fear. Like fear is a totally okay emotion to have. And I want to sit with that and see what information comes from that, like from my fear, about what it is that I'm needing or what it is that I'm, and I think what I always come to when I go into it is just that like there is so much possibility, um, when we get creative. And so I love like that specific book that you're naming, The Sex Workers, Psychics, and Numbers Runners. Um, I definitely want to read that. That sounds dope. And I do think that things like creating our own economy, creating interdependence outside of the system, those are things that make this period survivable. And I'm like, my brain keeps going back as we're having this conversation to Larry Mitchell and the faggots and their friends between revolutions, because he really talks a lot about this. And one of the things he talks about is like how like it's surviving either way. Like you're either surviving and you're like operating in the bullshit, or you're surviving with your friends like trying to create something else. And it's like I choose this one. Like if it's either way, I'm not like yeah, we're still being oppressed. Like this is still an oppressive system and society. But if I can survive creating with my friends, that actually makes that survival bearable, and I can do this. Like I can handle this. And so I just really appreciate bringing that conversation back to light, because I think it's really, really important right now. Um, yeah. And I'm excited because Midori also wants to share. That wasn't the plan, but now it is.
Like how you just sauntered off stage. Thank you. Wow. You both inspire me. We're going to be corny now, but you both are, everyone in Soft Power is my inspiration straight up. And um, yeah, I learned so much from everyone's shares. I think this specific stream is a major sense of inspiration for me to kind of contextualize my spirit within my spirit. Well, it's that too, but my current themes within what's going on for everybody. And I think currently, what has been, I'm just reflecting back, what has felt really resonant based on what both Nathaniel and Siobhan have shared is that first point is when Nathaniel was talking about like spiritual warfare. I've really been feeling that, of course, the past few years, but specifically this past week has felt there's just been this a lot of my messages come through in my dreams, and the past few nights I've had dreams very specifically feeling like there's been some sort of contact trying to happen with me by some sort of spirit being. And I'm not necessarily contexting that into like good or evil, because that's not really the way that I frame things. It's really about there is definitely contact trying to happen to people who have really open channels. Um, and so part of what I really loved about this reading that I did around sovereignty this morning from this book is that I decided actually yesterday to kind of put a pause button on someone on dating right now, because I really need to. I was reflecting internally and really being like, what is the right move for me right now? Because I feel like there's a lot on the table, and I really need to get clear on some things of focus that, like, for example, I need to get really comfortable in my body, because I still feel very kind of there's a disconnection that I feel with my body, and I don't think that dating and being intimate physically with someone is necessarily how I want to move at this moment. I think there's some internal work that I need to do and reflection, and so I just need to press pause on that connection so that I'm not constantly in a loop of um, yeah, I was just feeling myself going there. I was crushing on this person. I'd only seen them once. I'm like, okay, there's a lot coming up right now, and you literally just met this person. Like, can you just press pause? Because this is just not going to be helpful. So that was something that has also just been like, wow, I'm really proud of myself and inspired by how all of my friends have taught me how to really sit and reflect and like communicate what we need specifically within the soft power universe. Like I think that's a practice and a praxis that we have all established is that when we don't have capacity or the practice of integrating is just really important and how to communicate that. And so that was really templated that and feeling like that's now rippling out to other relationships that I have in my life. And that feels really inspiring right now. Um, and then I wrote down another point. Um, oh yeah, and then the other piece, going back to that part around the mystical feeling of this time and how there feels like there's just the veil is thin, right? There's this ability to, at least for me, as someone who is in relationship with the spirits, who has been a practitioner for a while and who has my own praxis that is constantly developing. I feel like there's this very specific moment that we're at where we're everything is just getting more and more I don't know, fantastical. There's this like fantastical energy that is very surreal on a very like violent and like really disturbing level at the state level. Um and also I was talking, my parents were visiting this weekend, and it's just reminding me of like in the same vein and to harmonize that there is also so much I'm experiencing that feels so magical and so affirming of my experience. Although, like, for example, I talked to my mom this weekend about this incident that she had when she was younger that was perceived as a psychological break, like as a psychological, I guess, like manic depressive episode, which I totally get and relate to. And it was just making me think about, I was like, yeah, this is what happens when we've been so repressed and when we haven't been able to connect with our relationship to the unseen, when we haven't been guided in any way to understand how our nervous system works and our bodies works and how to regulate ourselves. And so I feel like hearing her talk about that, I was like, yeah, I've had experiences like that, but I contextualized the experience way different because I had community, because I had a practice, because I knew how to regulate my nervous system, because I had people around me who affirmed my experience and didn't call the doctors and the cops, right? And so that was just like really grounding me into like, yeah, it made me sad, and also it made me really thankful that we are also at this moment where I've been able to connect with y'all, um, and feeling really equipped in that, yeah, just that sort of consciousness that feels generative, and just hope that we can continue to build together because it's everyone around us is going to be start telling us that we are, and have been telling us that we are crazy for thinking like this. And it's just like, no, like this is the sort, if this is crazy, like this is where I want to be. And I'm just really, really inspired and grateful that we even get to do this work, that even get to be, you know, building the stage together, church kid dropouts, these streams. Like I'm so, so, so rooted and inspired always by what we're creating here, and hope that that just gets to continue. And it will. And that's my share.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I definitely feel like this community and my community here in my physical location are the pieces that keep me grounded in like what I choose to be my reality. Because, I think to your point, like I am literally diagnosed crazy and also, just like seen as that way by society. And I've been having reflection recently because there are like maybe 5 total people from my like early life and like back home that I am still in contact with. 2 of them are blood related, well, one by marriage, and then the other 3 are chosen family from growing up. And I've sort of just been having this experience lately of like, these humans have not contacted me, interacted with me in like months. And that's kind of my experience with family, is like, if I'm not contacting, I don't get contacted. Which is why it was so easy for me to go no contact with my parents. It wasn't even a conversation. It was just like, I stopped contacting them one day and I never heard from them again. And so, like, that's sort of my experience. And I think that last year, one of my big journeys, this was true for my progress chart journey, um, and it just like how it showed up in my life was a lot about like finding the people who embraced my truth and embraced me inside of my truth. And I lost a lot of relationships over the last year that don't meet me there. And at the same time gained so much clarity on where I am held and like how I can be held in this reality, especially as I am seen as crazy and all these things. And it's like when I interact with these people from my upbringing, I'm like reminded just how crazy I seem. And a lot of like, it's like the family I had left, the like two people in my life I had left from everyone else abandoning me, they were really very proud of me for my success as a corporate person and making a lot of money. And like when I left that, they sort of their whole energy towards me shifted. And then, just kind of seeing like where value is placed. And like, and they're queer, and just the ways that they chose like heteronormativity and the path of like being materially secure over like with the resources they have, the things that they could do for our people is actually unreal. But they hoard it. And I for a long time was like, oh, like hopefully maybe I can support them through that relationship of like, this is not the way. And I'm also realizing, oh, maybe also not that. Maybe also this is not accessible to me. But to be here in this space with all these other crazy people who, in my opinion, this feels like the most real. I love you, Victoria. But like, this feels like the closest thing to reality I've ever experienced. And I would rather just be here. And this is where it also feels like I'm in my truth, I'm in my power, I'm creating. And I really do feel like I have a strong like grasp on like the warfare that I am being called into as a warrior of these times. And I'm just grateful to be here, because I think had I not had all of these tools in this community in this moment, I'd either be like a fascist white supremacist or I would be totally collapsing beneath all of this in fear, like all the other liberals of the world right now. And, I think I'm just so grateful for that. Like, I'm grateful for what we're creating here. I think that these spaces and creating together is literally how we move through all of this. And so, yeah, I'm just grateful for y'all. And I really appreciate your share and just the ways that, we all continue to be ourselves regardless of how people around us interact. Like I'm thinking like Midori with your parents and Siobhan with like your living situation, and just like how we're perceived on the daily as like, these people, what are they doing? And it's like, yeah, our reality is cuter, cooler, hotter, more honest, authentic. Like the ways I relate to the people in my life is so authentic here. And so transparent and honest. And especially as someone who grew up in whiteness, like that is crucial for me. Like because white people just do not talk about things. And when you talk about things to a white person that hasn't done the work, they just ignore you and walk away. Like it's really wild. Like you're just like, but I just said a thing to you. You're not even gonna respond because we have to ignore it. Got it, right? And so even just to be in a space where we can have like what doesn't even feel like conflict at the end of the day, but just have moments of like, hey, buddy, didn't love that. Can we talk about it? And it just be that, I just think that this is some real like world building activity that we're doing together. And I'm grateful to be doing it with y'all. I want to open back up. Is there anything else that either of you want to share, feel called to share? Anything else that's coming up before we close her out?
Just that last part that, like, yeah, you could see just like the windows roll up, and that experience is really what set me into this like investigation, especially with like the nervous system and hypnosis, and just really understanding like, wow, like that's how brilliant the mind can be, and the nervous system is this intelligence that like the second it perceives something threatening to this world, it's like bloop, check out. And like that is so, that shit used to enrage me. Um, yeah, it can be so invalidating. So like, yeah, I'm just really, really sitting with the ways that the simple like mirroring how powerful it is. And I really think that's been the story of soft power from the jump was, let's just like, that's what I think and remember when the first time I pulled up to Flo's um Zoom parties was just seeing like 30 plus, like really on that particular event was like 30 Asian Americans smoking weed dancing on a Zoom. And like that alone was just validating to my existence. And like there's so many things, and like I think I'm just beginning to understand like representation is limited, but it's still so powerful. And we've created our own like deeper form of that representation. Like I'm thinking about how people say like representation matters out in the media, and I'm like, we need a little bit deeper. But this really has been the medicine of soft power from the jump is, and that's like what we hear on so many of our sanctuary gathering calls is people who are just searching for somebody else out there who is choosing the reality, because I think it is a choice. I think our experience here on earth is our choice and our responsibility. And so I'll leave it at that on just like what soft power has meant to me and what it's given me. And it's because of this mirroring that I was able to leave my marriage, able to divest in these significant ways, because I knew that I had people I could go to, because it's just expecting people to do it alone and on our own will. That's been like one of my biggest lessons over time, is like expecting our us to will ourselves into change is just not reality for like the majority of people. So I appreciate y'all. You're the best mirrors I could ask for.
Wow. So gay. I love it. I love it so much. I love gay shit like that. Love to be cheesy. Yeah, I mean, like belonging is such a like important need that we have, like to feel like we belong somewhere. Um, and I feel like I have a lifetime of heartache from like not belonging in so many places. And it's interesting because one place that I found belonging early on was in the church. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, they're there.
Oh, wow. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? They don't want me talking about this shit. And Mercury retrograde. So anyway, what I was saying was that like I found belonging in the church, and that was valuable to me as someone who felt really I didn't belong anywhere else. I didn't belong in my family. I didn't belong in school. I was really bullied in both of those places. And so to come to church and find belonging, and then that belonging be rooted in my perfection, and belonging be rooted in doing the right thing and being good, really put me up. And so now to be here back at a church, finding belonging, and it being about connection to like my intuition. And I've been using the word a lot of like my wickedness, because I just really connecting to that concept. I mean, I know like wicked came out, but for me, it's actually rooted from a Bible verse. But just really wanting to like embrace like, yeah, what is wicked? And that's what my performance for Church Kid Dropouts is, like very wicked. And I love it. I mean, I don't know how far I am yet, but I know that's what it's going to be. And so anyway, it's just funny how all those things work out and come together. And I'm really grateful to still have, that concept of belonging in a church, but one that is about liberation and creativity and self-creation. Sovereignty. Anyway, all right. That's the message. We have some things this week. I don't know what they are, Siobhan.
Yeah, I'll share. We got Soft Power Choir tonight at 5:30 Pacific. Art Alchemy on Thursday. Is that happening? Okay, Art Alchemy on Thursday night with me, Dory, which if y'all have never joined Art Alchemy, it's so fun for the creativity and like inspiration that we've been talking about. And then on Friday is the spring equinox, and Midori and I will be live with a love salon. It may not get as much excitement as a Valentine's Day romance love salon, but this one is called Love Letters from Your Ancestors, and that is my personal favorite way. I see myself as a spiritual matchmaker, and so I'll drop those links in the emails and whatnot. But if you want a little love letter from your ancestors, fill out the form. You can ask questions about ancestor work, connecting with your ancestors, anything around this connection to your loving and elevated spirits, and maybe the ones that are, distinguishing them from the ones on your neck. Well, we could bring that combo in there too. But I think that covers it for this week in terms of events. And mark your calendars for March 29th, Church Kid Dropouts.
Awesome. So a fun week of creative spaces. I definitely am excited for tea on Friday. And I dropped the link to the RSVP for Church Kid Dropout. So you can go ahead and get your RSVP in, share amongst your community. It's free. Definitely bring your digital dollars for the performers. You can throw some money at them for their work. We'll also have some raffle prizes, which include sessions with us, and those are dope. So get one of those with a raffle. It's fun. Everybody likes a raffle. And so yeah, that's what we got going on. I hope that this week is one where we are all able to connect with our creativity, to have boundaries, and make sure that we are honoring our boundaries in every way that means, and meeting others inside of their boundaries. And I hope that it is a week that we also just get a little bit of like rest from all the things. We're kind of in like a astrologically calm week this week, which is a rare happening for the year. So really just praying that everyone gets the space to rest and rejuvenate, and also noting that there's a couple planets retrograding, so it's a good moment for reviewing and not acting. And so just really remembering that we still are in winter for just a few more days. So soak that up, soak up that integration, soak up the messages that Venus and Mercury want to share with you, to review. And yeah, that's what I have. All right, everyone. Till next time. I wasn't ready to actually. Okay. Till next time. Yeah, thank you, Siobhan.